Friday. It's day 3 of the 5-day anti-aging Ayurvedic cleanse. And actually, regarding the anti-aging part, there is really exciting science coming out. So I wanted to share with you around diet as well. So before I get into our active day cleanse, what to eat, share with you around diet. This always happens. Before I get into our active day cleanse, what to eat. I'm sorry about that. Diet. Oh, I see. It's the YouTube channel. Okay. Sorry about that. It's like, I got to know by now, day 3. Anyway, so this is about there's certain pathways related to digestion, especially protein digesting pathways that when overloaded is actually conducive to aging. So all the people who have been saying like high protein diet, actually it is accelerating the aging process. It's been found. So it's absolutely the plant-based diet, and something like this khichdi that we're making is very good because the whole idea of Ayurveda, which Ayurveda and yoga goes hand in hand like this. And both yoga and Ayurveda say it's very important to not stress the digestive system. And it absolutely makes sense if you really think about it from even just a simplistic view of proteins are the most complicated molecules that we have to digest, right? And so proteins take the most energy to digest. So that takes more of your energy bandwidth, life energy bandwidth. And so it totally makes sense that during a cleanse, during an anti-aging cleanse, we want to stress your digestive system the least. So avoiding, meats, avoiding animal protein, even dairy for a few days, just 2 days in our case that we're doing, is just a really nice way to take the digestive system off of this kind of, hyper active mode, and to just, because digestion is a survival process, right? And survival should be, as human beings, like for animals, survival is the main thing. But for us as human beings, we have come in a human body, and our job is to evolve, right? So that should be to take the precedence over. And so the digestive process, which is part of the survival process, should be at the baseline, right? It should not take up all of our bandwidth to have to digest something. And that's why Ayurveda advocates, watch the combination of foods. Don't create a war in your digestive system by eating citrus fruit and milk, for example. Like those yogurt parfaits, they're yummy, but mixing fruit and dairy is not a great idea, actually, according to Ayurveda, because dairy is a complete food, and it has its own digestive pathway. And so when you throw fruit in there or meat in there or fish in there, it really complicates the digestive system. It takes more of your bandwidth to digest, and it is more apt to have inefficient digestion. And so it may create ama at the end. So this is the wisdom around Ayurveda. So we're on the active cleanse phase now. And even if you're not doing the active cleanse in real time with me, you will be eating a mono diet of khichdi. Khichdi is composed of basmati rice. And even though I know that the brown basmati rice has higher nutrient value than white basmati rice, we'll be using the white because it is easier on the digestive system. So white basmati rice and moong dal. And there are different kinds of moong dal. I kind of like the yellow one. It is, again, it cooks a little faster, okay? And so this is the mono diet, and I will not be using the Banyan Botanicals ready-made khichdi spice mix, because, and you can absolutely order that. It's easier to use, but I'm using separate spices because I just wanted to explain some of the spices that go into khichdi, and for you to be able to modulate also for your doshic type in the future. If you like to make khichdi, it's nice to have the choice of, which spice I want to kind of use more and which less. So here is cumin, and cumin is called zira in Sanskrit, and you can see these little seeds here. They kind of look like lavender seeds. So cumin is wonderful. I'll be using the whole cumin seeds. First thing we want to do is, when you do the spices, you want to take some amount of ghee and heat it, and then allow the spices to marinate in the ghee. And then in the ghee, the medicinal qualities of the spices, it will be released. The aromatic, volatile, fragrant oils will be released into the oil, right? And then the ghee becomes like a medicated oil, right? So, and you want to make sure the heat is not too high, so you burn the spices. It's much better to actually undercook them, but you want to smell a little bit of a fragrance of the spices. So cumin, and then dhania. I have the ground version. Dhania is coriander seeds, and coriander is very good for pitta. It reduces pitta. Coriander is great for the urinary system. It's slightly diuretic. It's cooling to the system. So cumin is heating. It's good for vata and also kapha. Cumin is astringent, and so it will. It has astringent things have a way of restraining the fluids. So it, like for when people have diarrhea, cumin is used to stop the diarrhea. Its astringency, it constricts a little bit. And dhania is good for kindling the fire of pitta people without without aggravating the pitta. We also have fennel, ground fennel. You know what fennel seeds look like, but this is ground fennel. And fennel is wonderful for, it's a carminative class of herbs, which is wonderful for eliminating gas. So those of you who tend towards bloating, gassiness, fennel is a great friend. And then I will also be using hing, which I showed you yesterday, Hing, hing, or asafoetida, which is wonderful for reducing the gas-forming quality of all the beans. So it has a savory taste. So all right, let's get to it. So first thing you want to do is take 1 cup of basmati rice, right? I'm doing it in real time. This is my Martha Stewart moment, guys. Wish me luck. Okay, so we got the 1 cup of basmati rice, and we're gonna put it in. It's good to have something like this, a sieve, right? And then I'm gonna take a half cup of mung dal and measure that. Oops, flying all over the place. Okay, so we got half a cup of mung dal, and we're gonna just put it together, right? Half cup of the mung dal and 1 cup of basmati rice. And then I'm just gonna wash it, rinse it in the sink. And then we're gonna, so for those of you who are not making it today, you can do this and soak it overnight. And tomorrow you can rewatch this video. So I'm just gonna wash it and rinse it because you wanna just make sure, it's always a good idea to wash, and it's a lot of white stuff is coming off, so it's good. It's just making sure that, removing any dirt. So I'm going to keep that. Hold on a second. Bowl. Okay. So now we're going to come. Let me just set it right here, and you can see I'm literally in the kitchen. Okay, right here. Okay. So now I'm going to take the ghee. Right. I have yes, and this is the Swad brand that I like, and I'm gonna heat I think I'm gonna heat it this one so you can see better. Yes. Okay, so 2 tablespoons of ghee. Seems like a lot, but actually ghee is used a lot in your Ayurvedic treatments. And clear ghee, this oil actually it works to oleate your internal organs. And so it's already kind of melted because inside the house it's a little warm. So the ghee is melting. And then you take that cumin. So I would say, I don't really measure things that precisely, but I would say I'm putting about this much, I say it's like a half a teaspoon. And so begin the process. I'm going to lower the heat so it doesn't burn. I'm going to take it like medium low. And then I have also, one thing I told you I like to use is fenugreek. Fenugreek, I don't know if you can see. Yeah, it is the seeds of the fenugreek. It's very good for pitta because it is liver cleansing in nature. It has kind of what we call alterative. It's a bitter, fenugreek is a bitter herb. As you can see the seeds like that. And it adds a kind of a bitter, savory taste that kind of balances the flavor that I like. And then I have the coriander. Okay, this is the coriander powder. And I have a little spoon in here. I'm just going to use a little spoonful. And I'm going to just, yeah, and I'm already smelling the aroma of the, right? So I'm just doing it like that. I'm just going to stir it. So if you have the Banyan Botanicals Khichdi mix, then you can use it. I would use 1 tablespoonful, right? So 2 tablespoons of ghee, 1 tablespoon of the khichdi mix, right? And I'm going to also add, I like fresh, not too much pepper because it is very spicy. So it is very hot for pitta, and I'm pitta. So but it does help with the digestion. So adding a little bit for flavor. So I've done, this is fenugreek powder. I don't need that anymore. So dhania I used. So that's really, and then, I will put the salt in a little bit later. Okay, so I'm going to let this thing marinate. You can kind of stir it, that spoon. Good. All right, so now you need to have a pot with a lid to it. So, and hopefully it's because it is, yeah, you want to be able to put your soaked mung bean and rice and marinate it along with the spices, and then you're going to fill it with some water, and then you want to cover it. So that is what we're going to do. So I'm just waiting for the spices to marinate a little bit more, and then let me grab the rice. So while you're waiting for these things to happen, I wouldn't do it now, but once we put the this mixture of rice and mung beans and put it in here and add the water, then you will cover it. Then you'll have some time. You can put it on like medium heat and let it cook and do its thing. And if you forgot to soak it, or if you're just making that day, I would let it cook a little longer. You might need to add a little bit more water. Check. And while that's happening, then you can chop your vegetables, such as your zucchini. So the vegetables that are tridoshic, that's safe, are the zucchinis are very good because it's tridoshic. So you can chop it up into cubes and then add it midway during your cooking process. Okay, so let me just check the water ratio here. So you really need so you have 1 cup mung dal, 1/2 cup white basmati rice, and then you're going to add 5 cups of water, 5 cups of water to that. Yeah. So you want to measure 5 cups. So I think this is pretty much done now. So I'm going to add, it's like a back and forth, back and forth. Very high production value studio setting here.
Excuse me, Mariko, are you using 1/2 cup of mung?
Yes, 1
Okay.
cup rice, 1/2 cup of basmati, and then you add it in there. And then you can kind of like marinate the rice and the mung bean, so it mixes up with the spice very nicely. So did you, Padma, did you get the Banyan Botanical Spice Khichdi mix? If you got that, then
I
just
ordered some product. It'll come in a couple of days. Yeah.
I see. So
Yeah.
So you will do it, do this when you get everything, but so this way you are allowing the ghee to coat the rice and the mung beans, right? A little bit. And I'm going to turn up the heat a little bit and let that marinate. Yeah, the soaking is actually really good to do because it renders everything much easier to cook. Okay, so now let's add the water. Where's my cup? So 5 cups. So this measures 2 cups. I'm going to do it twice. Okay, so there's 1 cup. Yeah, and I'm going to give that a good stir. Good. And it doesn't overflow. Another. So I needed to use a little bit of a deeper dish here. So yeah, I'm gonna let it cook, and then halfway through, I'm gonna add a little bit more. So don't make the mistake and just you use a larger, deeper dish. Okay, so I'm gonna let that be, and I'm gonna keep it like medium heat. Yes, and so this is going to take like at least 30 to 45 minutes. So then you have time. You want to set the timer so you don't forget about it. And then you chop your vegetables. I recommend, zucchini are great. You can add carrots. You can add potatoes. I'm not sure, but I think some, like green peas are also nice. So you can add your vegetables then, and then have corianders are really nice. You can remove the stem and chop it up. They make a very nice garnish. So you can add it at the end. And when it comes time to eat, you can also take like a teaspoon of ghee and drizzle it on your khichdi, and take your, while this is cooking, I'm going to add some salt, and you can, add it to taste. So it's a very, very simple recipe. Yeah. And Ayurvedic khichdi, it'll be done. Probably I'm not gonna, keep the zoom on the whole entire time it's cooking, but it will be, it's really very simple to make, and it's quite tasty. So it does take 45 minutes, but it's really nice to have fresh khichdi. So you can, during the cleanse, if you're only doing 2 days, you can make one batch and have it, 2 meals, and then breakfast, you can have your, oatmeal that is not instant, and use your cooked apples, cinnamon, no milk, as we talked about. So that will be your breakfast, right? Khichdi for lunch, khichdi for dinner. And at night, you take 2 tablets of you take 2 tablets of triphala, right? During the daytime, with breakfast or lunch, I would take 2 tablets of total cleanse. If you want a little extra cleanse, then you can have 2 tablets of total cleanse with breakfast, 2 tablets of total cleanse with lunch, and then dinner time, before bedtime, take 2 tablets of triphala. So that is a little bit of a stronger cleanse. So I recommend the first time around, just do the total cleanse once a day. That should be enough. Yeah. And make sure you drink lots of water throughout the day. If you can, drink hot water, because hot water is already warmed up to body temperature. It will unleash and unlock the digestive enzymes that will help the cleansing process, because while the digestive system is not required to digest other processed foods that you normally take, and in between meals, we're not snacking. So you might, hunger is a good thing to feel during a cleanse. Hunger means that digestive fire, Agni, is burning up the residual toxins that have accumulated. So stopping eating at 7, and you might feel hungry, yes, by the time you go to bed at 10 p.m. But get used to, going to bed on, a little bit hungry, because during the night, then the body has a chance to complete its digestion. And during the cellular regeneration process, there is no taxing thing going on in your system that your body has to process. The body can fully concentrate on repair and regeneration. And again, when you get up in the morning, check your tongue to see that the digestion is complete. If there's a white coating, then again, take that tongue cleaner. It looks like this, and you just pull it down, and you can, remove the coating, and then wait until you feel hungry enough, right? Wait until you feel your first pangs of real hunger, right? We want to eat according to tuning into your digestive system, instead of the clock, instead of what society tells you when you should eat, or according to your emotional need for eating. A lot of, I think so much of the eating disorders in the West is just because of emotional eating. And emotional eating is the number one way food turns into toxin. So as yogis, right, and I believe all of you are yogis, as yogis, we got to value our hunger. Hunger means your Agni is kindled. Hunger means not just your physiological, digestive, and physical, digestive and metabolic fire are being lit, but it's also the fire of your intellect. Your mind will be clearer, right? And you have much more creative capacity when your digestive system is not taxed. It's also the hunger of your soul, right? The hunger of your soul, that burning desire to go for liberation, to rise above it all and go for liberation. So hunger, that fire, is absolute gold. We must cherish, the hunger in our lives, and it's the thing that propels you further forward. So I hope it's clear to you what you do during your active phase of the cleanse. So I'm going to wish you an amazing cleanse. If you have any questions about making khichdi, I'm sorry that I couldn't go through the entire process because it takes like 45 minutes. You put the thing on the stove, you chop up your vegetables, you add it midway during your cooking process, right? And then you will know when, the vegetable is cooked enough, not brown, it's cooked enough, and the khichdi and the rice and the mung bean are cooked so that it's edible softness, right? And you gotta watch it periodically. So don't just set and forget it. You can stir it, and add a little salt while you're stirring it, and then khichdi will be done, So I hope that was helpful. And let me know if you have any questions in the Facebook group. I'm going to come off live now. And tomorrow, don't miss tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be our experiential restorative flow, as well as a meditation. It's about healing on multiple levels, because cleanse is not just physiological reset. There's definitely a big relationship between your digestive system and your emotions. And I think this reset energy that is happening throughout the world it's so much about our consciousness, right? Our consciousness and our ability to make our lives new again. And we all have that ability to make our lives new again, put on a new life and be inspired with new goals, new dreams, right? And new stage of life that you're stepping into as an individual and as a collective. So join me tomorrow. It's going to be a different time, 10 a.m. Eastern. So it's 3 hours earlier than today, 10 a.m. Eastern, and it'll be about 45 minutes long. So join me, and you can have your yoga mat, come dressed in comfortable clothes. You can have your pillows, maybe eye pillow, some pillows, maybe a blanket, and we'll do a collective, nice, restorative yoga nidra yoga experience. Okay, so see you tomorrow. Thanks so much for joining, and I'm going to take off.